Hey guys, welcome to Chem Galaxy. So today I'm going to continue my topic of carboxylic acids. Now in the previous lectures I have discussed that the acidity of carboxylic acid, whether alcohol is more acidic or aliphatic carboxylic acids are more acidic in nature, whether benzoic acid is more acidic or phenol is more acidic. Also, I have discussed that how the substituents affect the acidity of carboxylic acid. So, if you haven't watched these videos, the playlist is appearing on the iCard. Do check it out first. Alright. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to study the chemical reactions of carboxylic acid. Basically, you know that the carboxylic acid is made up of, the general formula of carboxylic acid is RCOOH, right? So, the R is the alkyl group, CO is the carbonyl group and OH is the hydroxyl group. So basically carboxylic acid gives several types of chemical reactions in which it involves the reaction of alkyl group, also the reactions of carbonyl group and also reactions involving hydroxyl group. Alright, so we are going to discuss these reactions one by one. So these are very important reactions for the exam point of view as well. So stick around, I am going to explain each and every reaction in full detail. Alright, so the video is very knowledgeful for all of you, so stick along and watch the full video without skipping any part. Alright, so now let's start. So as you all can see on the screen, the first heading is chemical reactions of carboxylic acid. So carboxylic acid is made up of two groups, an alkyl or an aryl group and a carboxyl group. So yes, you know the general formula of carboxylic acid is RCOOH. So the R can be an alkyl group or can be an aryl group, and the COOH is a carboxyl group. Also, I have taught you in the first lecture of carboxylic acid that the carboxyl group itself is made up of two groups, that is a carbonyl group, okay, that is CO, C double bond O, and also an hydroxyl group, that is OH. So you see that the carboxyl group consists of a carbonyl group as well as a hydroxyl group. So it is expected that the carboxyl group should give the reactions of a carbonyl compounds, that is it should give the reactions of aldehydes and ketones. Also because carboxyl group has a OH group, so it should also give reactions of the alcohols because alcohol also have a OH group. So it is expected that the carboxylic acid should give reactions of the carbonyl compounds as well as of the alcohols or phenols, but the case is quite different. So let us see. So due to the two groups of carboxyl group, it is expected that it will give the reactions of the carbonyl compound, that is aldehydes and ketones, and the hydroxyl compound, that is alcohols and phenols. But the case is quite different because you know that the carboxyl group is resonance stabilized, okay. So due to that resonance, its chemical properties are quite different from the carbonyl compounds and from the alcohols. So let us see. Now you see that this is a carboxyl group, okay, and this is its resonating structure. This is formed because the pi bond gets shifted towards this oxygen, so oxygen will get a negative charge and this carbon will get a positive charge. Now the oxygen has lone pair on it, so this oxygen will donate its lone pair to this carbon atom, okay, because this carbon has positive charge, so it is electron deficient, so the oxygen will donate its lone pair here, okay. So what will happen, that this oxygen will get a positive charge and we will get this compound, okay, or this is structure. Now let us see the carbonyl group. So you see this is a carbonyl group, so when the pi bond gets broken, so this O minus, this will form as a O minus and this will get a positive charge, the carbon will get a positive charge. Now you see here is a difference. Now the basic reactions of the carbonyl compounds are nucleophilic addition reactions. Why is so? Because the carbonyl carbon is electrophilic in nature. You see that in the carbonyl structure, when the pi bond is broken, so the oxygen has a minus charge and the carbon has a positive charge. So the carbon has a positive charge, so this means that carbon is electrophilic in nature, okay. But in case of carboxylic acid or in case of carboxyl group, you see that the carbon only has a partial positive charge due to resonance, because as soon as the carbon gets a positive charge, the oxygen of the hydroxyl group donates its lone pair to the carbon atom. So that's why the carbon has only partial positive charge. So this means that the electrophilic nature of the carboxyl group is less as compared to the carbonyl group, okay. So that's why there is a difference in chemical properties as when we compare the carboxyl group and the carbonyl group. So that's what I have written here also. So it is clear that in carboxyl group the carbon atom have only partial positive charge. So that's why it is less electrophilic and does not give many nucleophilic addition reactions such as formation of oximes, hydrazones, phenyl hydrazones, etc. Yes, that because of the resonance, the electrophilic nature of the carboxyl group is low. So that's why the characteristic reactions of the carbonyl group are not given by the carboxyl group. Okay, like you can form the carbonyl compounds form oximes, phenyl hydrazones, semi-carbazones, and much reactions. So the carboxyl group does not give such reactions because due to its less electrophilic nature. Now, but aldehyde ketones give, because aldehyde and ketone have only the carbonyl group, so they have a good electrophilic character. So that's why they give nucleophilic addition reaction. Like you can see, this is a aldehyde RCHO, and this I have taken is hydroxylamine. Okay, so what will happen? The water will get lost and we will get a oxime. Similarly, when we react it with a hydrazine, NH2 is a hydrazine, so the same case will happen here also, that water will get lost and we will get a hydrazone. Okay, so this you can see. Now if we talk about the chemical reactions of carboxyl group, so there are various atoms through which the carboxyl group can react. For example, the carboxyl group has hydrogen, as it is an acid, so it can liberate H+. Okay, so there are several reactions due to hydrogen. Okay, now there are also several reactions due to the hydroxyl group. Also, there are several reactions due to carbonyl group, and also there are some reactions which involve the alkyl group of the carboxylic acid. So we will study these reactions one by one. So let us start with the reaction due to hydrogen atom of the hydroxyl group. Okay, so first of the reaction is the reaction with metals. Now carboxylic acid can react with active metals as well, because you see the active metals are moreover basic in nature. You see sodium, potassium, these all are basic in nature. Okay, and now acid, carboxylic acid is acidic in nature, that means it can liberate H+, so they can form a salt. Okay, so that's what I have written here, that the carboxylic acid reacts with active metals like sodium, potassium, calcium, zinc, etc. Like I have written in the reactions, that you see this is carboxylic acid and this is sodium. So when we will react it, we will get a sodium salt of carboxylic acid, and hydrogen gets liberated. Similarly, if we react it with zinc, then we will get this compound. This is a zinc salt of carboxylic acid. Okay, and hydrogen will again get liberated. Now coming to the second reaction, that is reaction with carbonates and bicarbonates. Now simply that the carboxylic acid is acidic in nature, so it will react with all the bases. Now carbonates and sodium carbonates are also bases, so it will react with them also. How? That this is the carboxylic acid and this is a sodium carbonate. In the first reaction I have taken sodium carbonate, so when it will react, it will form a sodium salt of carboxylic acid, and it will also liberate carbon dioxide and water. Same is the case with sodium bicarbonate. It will react with it to form sodium salt of carboxylic acid and carbon dioxide and water. But the thing is that these reactions, when we react carboxylic acid with sodium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate, so there is effervescence in the test tube. Suppose you have taken carboxylic acid in a test tube and you will add an aqueous solution of sodium bicarbonate, for example. So there you will see there will be effervescence. That effervescence is due to the carbon dioxide evolution. Okay, so these reactions can be used as a test for determining the functional group of the organic compound you were given. Okay, if you are given with a organic compound and if you are asked to check the functional group of that organic compound, so by performing these reactions, that is by reacting that organic compound with sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate, if you see effervescence in your test tube, that means that the functional group of that organic compound is a carboxyl group. So these reactions can be used to test whether the organic compound has a carboxyl group or not. Also, that the phenol does not give effervescence when they react with sodium carbonate or sodium bicarbonate. Okay, so we can also distinguish between a carboxyl group and a phenolic group if we use these reactions as a test. So these points should be kept in mind. So that's what I have written here also, that due to the evolution of carbon dioxide, there is effervescence in the test tube. So these reactions are used as a test for carboxyl group. Also, most of the phenols do not give effervescence with aqueous sodium bicarbonate. So this reaction can also be used to distinguish between phenols and carboxylic acids. Now let us see the third reaction, that is reaction with alkalis. So till now we have reacted carboxylic acid with different types of bases. Now here also we will react with some other bases, because if we talk about the reaction of carboxyl group due to its hydrogen atom, there is only one type of reaction, that is an acid base reaction. So here also we are going to react carboxylic acid with different types of bases. Like you see, there is a carboxylic acid and I have reacted it with sodium hydroxide. So what will happen is a sodium salt of carboxylic acid will be formed and water will get evolved. Similarly, if we take ammonium hydroxide and we will react, so we will get a ammonium salt and water. Similarly, if we reacted with mercurous oxide, we will get a mercuric salt of carboxylic acid and water will get evolved. Now, however, since carboxylic acid is much weaker acid than mineral acid like hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, sulfuric acid, so when the salts of carboxylic acid is hydrolyzed by mineral acid, we get the parent carboxylic acid back. Now, what I have written here is that, now you see that here I have formed sodium salt of carboxylic acid, ammonium salt of carboxylic acid, or mercuric salt of carboxylic acid. So because the carboxylic acid are much weaker acids than the mineral acids like the hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, sulfuric acid, so if we hydrolyze the sodium salt, for example, if we hydrolyze the sodium salt of carboxylic acid, or whether we hydrolyze a ammonium salt of carboxylic acid with these mineral acid, so we will get the parent acid back. For example, if we react this sodium salt RCOONA with a mineral acid, okay, so we will get the carboxylic acid back. So now let us see some other reactions, that is reactions involving the OH group of carboxylic acids. Okay, now we will study how the OH group of carboxyl group reacts. Basically, you know, the carboxyl group is made up of carbonyl group and a hydroxyl group. So now we will see how the hydroxyl group reacts with the different compounds. So let me read it first, that the OH group of carboxylic acid, like the OH group of alcohol, can be replaced by a number of groups such as chlorine, OR-, NH2, OOCr- to form acid chlorides, esters, amides and anhydrides. Yes, that you see the carboxyl group is made up of carbonyl group and the OH group. So if we replace the OH group with different groups, we can replace it like with chlorine, with the OR group, with the NH2 group. Okay, so there will be different types of compounds formed. Okay, and these compounds are known as the functional derivatives of carboxylic acid. They have specific names also, like you see when you will replace the OH group with a Cl group, you will get acid chloride. When you will replace it with the OR group, you will get ester. When you will replace it with the NH2 group, you will get amide. And when you will replace it with the OOCr- group, so you will get an anhydride. So basically the acid chloride, esters, amides and anhydrides, these all are known as the functional derivatives of carboxylic acids. Okay, so let us see these, how can we form these functional derivatives one by one. Okay, so coming to the first functional derivative, that is formation of acid chlorides. Now acid chlorides can be formed simply when we treat the carboxylic acid with either PCl3 or PCl5 or thionyl chloride. By these three methods we can prepare acid chlorides, but the thionyl chloride method is preferred over the rest of the two methods, that is with the PCl3 or PCl5. So let me first read, then I will tell you why the thionyl chloride method is preferred. So you see that this is a carboxyl group, carboxylic acid, and this is PCl5. So when you will react, we will get the acid chloride. Similarly, when we will react it with PCl3, we will get the acid chloride. Okay, you see here the OH group has been replaced by a chlorine group. And if we react the carboxylic acid with thionyl chloride, we will get the desired acid chloride and sulfur dioxide and hydrogen chloride as side products. You see this HCl is a hydrogen chloride gas, not hydrochloric acid. Okay, now let me tell you why the thionyl chloride method is preferred over rest of the methods. This is because you see the side products are the two gases, one is sulfur dioxide and other is hydrogen chloride gas. Okay, so when these two gases are formed, they escapes into the atmosphere. Okay, and also thionyl chloride is quite volatile in nature, so the thionyl chloride can be separated by fractional distillation. So you see, by doing these things, by separating thionyl chloride with fractional distillation, and sulfur dioxide and hydrogen chloride gas escapes into the atmosphere, we are left with a almost pure acid chloride. So we don't have to do much of the things to separate out the acid chloride in a pure form. By performing this reaction, we get a very pure acid chloride. Okay, so that's why this method is preferred. So let me read also that in actual practice, preparation of acid chloride is preferred from thionyl chloride as the side products are gases and escapes into the atmosphere. Also, thionyl chloride is volatile and can be easily removed by fractional distillation, leaving behind almost pure acid chloride. So by making acid chloride from thionyl chloride, we get almost pure acid chloride, whereas in other cases we do not get that much pure acid chloride as we get in the thionyl chloride reaction. So that's why the thionyl chloride method is preferred over PCl3 and PCl5. So this is basically how acid chlorides are formed. So one functional derivative can be formed easily, I have taught you. Now coming to the second functional derivative, that is esters. Now esters can be simply prepared by reacting the carboxylic acid with the alcohol in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid or in presence of dry HCl gas. But if you take dry HCl gas, that reaction is a named reaction that is known as Fischer-Spier esterification. Okay, so this point should be kept in mind that if you perform the esterification in presence of dry HCl gas, then that reaction is known as Fischer-Spier esterification. Okay, so let us see that this is a carboxylic acid and this is an alcohol. Okay, so in presence of concentrated sulfuric acid, we will get a ester. Okay, similarly we can also take dry HCl gas as well. So this reaction is known as Fischer-Spier esterification. Also you see that these reactions are in equilibrium. So to push the reaction forward, so to generate more yield, we usually take either carboxylic acid or alcohol in excess, because you know, according to Le-Chatelier principle, if we increase the quantity of reactants, the reaction pushes forward and produces more products. So that's what we want, because it is in equilibrium. So we keep either acid or either the alcohol in excess, so that according to Le-Chatelier principle we get more products, that is more esters. Okay, now let us see the mechanism of this esterification. So you see, this is a carboxylic acid. Okay, now the H plus will be from the concentrated sulfuric acid, or the acid we will get H plus. Now you see the oxygen of this carbonyl compound or oxygen of this carbonyl group will donate its lone pair to the H plus, and we will get this. Okay, because the oxygen has given lone pair, so it will get a positive charge. Okay, now because oxygen is electronegative in nature, so the positive charge on it is unstable. So what it will do, it will break the pi bond of this pi bond towards itself, and we will get this. Now because the pi bond is broken towards the oxygen, so carbon will get a positive charge. Okay, now carbon having positive charge, alcohol, now comes the alcohol, and alcohol has oxygen which has lone pair, so this oxygen will donate the lone pair to this carbon atom, because carbon atom is electron deficient. Okay, so what we will get here is this. You see, the oxygen has positive charge because oxygen has given lone pair. Again, because oxygen is electronegative in nature, so the positive charge on it is unstable. So what it will do, it will lose one H plus. Okay, so and now we will get this. Now you see here that this carbon has two hydroxyl groups attached to it. Now this point should be kept in mind that whenever two hydroxyl groups are attached to a single carbon atom, it is highly unstable. So what it will do, it will lose a molecule of water and a carbonyl group is formed. So that's what I have written here also, that now as two OH groups are on one carbon atom is unstable, so it will lose water. So what it will do, you see there are two hydroxyl groups to one carbon atom, so it will lose a water molecule and a carbonyl group is formed, and we will get a desired ester. Now you see in the overall reaction, it seems like that the carboxylic acid is giving the OH and the alcohol is giving H plus. But here is a fact that the carboxylic acid is a stronger acid than alcohol. So the carboxylic acid should give H plus. But in reality also in this reaction, the carboxylic acid is giving the OH group and the alcohol is giving the H group. There is evidence also for it. Let me show you that. You see, the evidence for this contrary behavior of the acid is that experimentally a reaction was done to see whether the alcohol is giving H plus or carboxylic acid is giving. So what is the reaction? That we have taken this carboxylic acid and reacted with this alcohol, in which the oxygen, in which we have taken this the isotope of oxygen. Okay, simply the oxygen is having a 16 atomic number. Now here it is having an 18 atomic number. It is an isotope of oxygen. Okay, so we have taken this alcohol for the purpose to see that whether the alcohol is giving H plus or not, because if the alcohol has given H plus, so the OR will get attached to the ester. Okay, that means the let me repeat it, that if alcohol is giving H plus, so the remaining OR of the alcohol should get attached to the ester. And if the carboxylic acid is giving H plus, so the oxygen, so the isotope oxygen should be present in water. Okay, so you see that this is an carboxylic acid, this is an alcohol. Okay, and the oxygen is isotope of the oxygen 16. Okay, so when we reacted with concentrated H2SO4, we found that this isotope is present in ester, nor in water. Okay, so this isotope is present in ester. I have written here wrong, let me correct it. Yes, so this isotope is present in ester, neither in water, because if the alcohol has given OH, then the carboxylic acid should give H. Okay, and the OH and H will combine to form water, so the isotope should be present in water molecule. But because the alcohol is giving H plus, so that's why the oxygen, the isotope oxygen, is present in ester. This is found experimentally, so that's why it is believed that the alcohol is giving H plus and the carboxylic acid is giving OH. Okay, so this is a very interesting point you should keep in mind. So by checking the product, it was found that the isotope of oxygen is attached to the ester and not to water. Now there are some trends of reactivity also for acid and alcohol. So the esterification is quite sensitive to the steric hindrance. That is, as the steric hindrance increases, that is, as the size of the molecules reacting, that is the size of carboxylic acid and size of alcohol increases, their reactivity towards esterification decreases. So that's what I've written here also. So the esterification is quite sensitive to the steric hindrance. So as the size of alcohol or acid increases, the reactivity decreases. You see, this is an acid, so as the size is increasing, this is formic acid, this is ethanoic acid, so as the size is increasing, their reactivity is decreasing. Same is the case with alcohol also. You see, the methanol is the smallest alcohol, so it has the largest reactivity. Then comes ethanol, then isopropyl alcohol, then tertiary butyl alcohol. Okay, so basically this is how you can prepare ester. Now coming to the third functional derivative, which is amide. You can prepare amide very easily by simply reacting the carboxylic acid with ammonia. Okay, so when you will react the carboxylic acid with ammonia, you will first get the ammonium salt of carboxylic acid. Okay, and when you will heat that ammonium salt, the water will get lost and you will get the amide as a product. So let me show you that this is a carboxylic acid and this is ammonia. So when you will react it, basically what will happen, that the ammonium salt of carboxylic acid will be formed. Okay, now by heating it, the water will get lost and we will get a desired amide. Here is an example also. You see here I have taken benzoic acid. Okay, so when we will react it with ammonia, we will get this ammonium salt of carboxylic acid or ammonium salt of benzoic acid, and when we will heat it, we will get benzamide and water will get lost. Now coming to the fourth functional derivative, that is anhydride. So anhydrides can be prepared by different methods. You see, if we want to prepare symmetrical anhydrides, so we can simply react the carboxylic acid with a strong dehydrating agent. For example, we can react it with phosphorus pentaoxide. So by reacting it with phosphorus pentaoxide, we can prepare symmetric anhydrides. But here is a disadvantage also, that we cannot prepare unsymmetrical anhydrides from it, because if we want to prepare unsymmetrical anhydrides, then we need to take two different carboxylic acids. Okay, so when we will take two different carboxylic acid, the resulting products will be three anhydrides, that is, we will get a mixture of anhydrides. So that's why by simply dehydrating carboxylic acid we cannot prepare unsymmetrical anhydrides in a good yield. It is quite troublesome for us to separate these anhydrides, so it is not a good method. Dehydrating carboxylic acid is not a good method to prepare unsymmetrical anhydrides, but it is a good method to prepare symmetrical anhydrides. So let me show you that to form symmetrical anhydrides, carboxylic acid are reacted with a strong dehydrating agent. You see, here I have taken two molecules of same carboxylic acid, and when we will react it with a strong dehydrating agent like phosphorus pentaoxide, here I have taken P2O5, so we will get a symmetrical anhydride, acid anhydride. Simply the water will get lost and we will get the acid anhydride. But as I have told you that this method cannot be used to prepare unsymmetrical anhydrides. As you see that here I have taken two different carboxylic acid, and when we will react it with phosphorus pentaoxide, you see that first of all the two molecules of this carboxylic acid will get dehydrated and form an anhydride, and then the two molecules of this carboxylic acid will get dehydrated and form another anhydride, and then these two carboxylic acid also get dehydrated and form a third type of anhydride. You see that this is one type of anhydride, this is second type of anhydride, and this is third type of anhydride. So basically there is a mixture of anhydrides, so it is quite troublesome for us to separate these three. Okay, so that's why it is not a very good method. But that doesn't mean that we cannot prepare unsymmetrical anhydrides. We can prepare unsymmetrical anhydrides by simply reacting the carboxylic acid with acid chlorides in presence of pyridine. Like I have shown you here that this is a carboxylic acid and this is a acid chloride. Here the alkyl group is different. Okay, so when we will react it, hydrogen chloride will get separated and we will get our desired anhydride. And we have to take pyridine also, so that we can neutralize this acid, the hydrochloric acid. We need to neutralize that acid, because if we do not neutralize the hydrochloric acid, then it will undergo, this anhydride will undergo hydrolysis from this mineral acid, and we will get the carboxylic acid back. Okay, I am repeating it again, that the anhydride form will undergo hydrolysis with this mineral acid, that is, the anhydride will undergo hydrolysis with hydrochloric acid, and we will get the carboxylic acid back. So to avoid that, we use pyridine, because pyridine is a base, so it will neutralize the hydrochloric acid and we will get our desired unsymmetrical anhydride. So that's what I have written here also, that pyridine is used to neutralize the acid produced as the side product, otherwise it will hydrolyze the anhydride to give the reactants back. So basically this is how you can prepare the different types of functional derivatives of carboxylic acid. So that's all for now. I hope you have understood whatever I have taught. If you have understood, do give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any queries, you can comment down below. So till then, this is Akash Shukla signing off.